The Grand Council of the Galactic Dominion had ruled 700 worlds for 11,000 years. They had catalogued every sentient species, mapped every breathing civilization, and recorded every war worth remembering. So when Elder Counselor Draven Voss slammed his four-fingered fist on the obsidian table and demanded silence, the chamber obeyed instantly. "The signal came from Sector Null," said the young analyst, Pyrex, his amber eyes wide with something between awe and terror. "From the dead zone. The region we sealed after the collapse." Draven leaned forward. "Sealed. Not inhabited. That is what the archives say, Elder." Pyrex pulled up the holographic readout. "But the signal carries structural encoding we have never seen before. Aggressive. Layered. And it is addressed to us, by name." Silence swallowed the chamber whole. "There is nothing in Sector Null," Draven said firmly. "There has never been anything in Sector Null." Pyrex hesitated. Then he whispered the word that had not been spoken in polite galactic society for 3 centuries. "Humans." Draven spent that night buried inside the oldest restricted files the Dominion possessed. Most of the human records were tagged mythological, unverified. Fragments. Rumors passed between dying civilizations like ghost stories around a fire. They were said to be small. Soft-skinned. Embarrassingly short-lived, barely a century per individual. They had no natural armor, no venom, no telepathic ability, no bioluminescent threat display. By every measurable biological standard, they should have been prey. And yet, every civilization that had ever confirmed contact with humans in the ancient era had either vanished from the records entirely, or survived only to write the same 3 words in their final transmissions: "We were wrong." Draven closed the files. He did not sleep. Admiral James Reeves stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance and watched the stars with the patience of a man who had been waiting his entire career for this moment. Behind him, through the viewport, stretched the Armada, 400 warships, their hulls painted the dark gray of a storm cloud, their engine signatures deliberately kept cold and quiet until now. "Admiral," said Lieutenant Marcus Cole, "their long-range sensors just locked onto us." "Good," Reeves said calmly. He straightened his collar. "Let them look." Cole pulled up the tactical display. "They're transmitting on all frequencies, sir. Asking us to identify ourselves. They sound." He paused. Confused. Reeves almost smiled. "They always are, at first." He had studied the Dominion for 9 years. He knew their psychology, their pride, their absolute faith in their own superiority. He knew they believed humans were either extinct or fictional. He knew exactly how this moment was landing on the other side of that transmission. "Open a channel," he said. Draven heard the human voice for the first time in his 1100-year life and felt something he had not felt since childhood: fear. The voice was calm. Unhurried. It carried the quiet confidence of something that had never needed to shout to be heard. "This is Admiral James Reeves of the United Earth Armada. We have monitored the Dominion's expansion into what you call Sector Null for the past 60 years. You colonized 11 of our outer settlements. You called them uninhabited. They were not. We gave you 40 years to correct this. You did not. So here we are. A pause. That we are not here to destroy you. We are here to negotiate. But I want to be precise about one thing before we begin, so there is no confusion later. We have been watching you far longer than you have been watching us. We know your fleet deployments, your supply chains, your council rotation schedules, and the location of every shipyard in the Dominion. We are choosing to talk first. Please understand that this is a choice, not a limitation." The transmission ended, the council chamber erupted. Advisors shouted. Military commanders called for an immediate strike. Draven raised his hand and silenced all of them. That he looked at the readout of the human armada on the display screen. 400 ships, sitting perfectly still. Not advancing. Not retreating. Just waiting the way something waits when it already knows the outcome. He thought about the ancient files. About the civilizations that had said we were wrong. He thought about the human word he had read once in a very old recovered document, a word they apparently used to describe themselves when they were being modest, persistent. Open a channel, Draven said quietly. And bring me something to drink. This negotiation is going to take a while. Outside in Sector Null, the UES Defiance held its position beneath the stars, patient and immovable, as 4 centuries of silence finally ended. The Dominion signed the Sector Null Accord 17 days later.